Hello, I'm Dr. Vanita Rattan. I'm a medically qualified doctor and a cosmetic formulator specifically for skin of color. Today is a highly requested one. It is your pre and post workout skincare routine. There is so much confusion about when you wash your face, before or after, do you wear sunscreen, when do you moisturize, can you exfoliate, how do you prevent breakouts from working out or eczema flare-ups, and why does melasma look worse after exercising? Today we're going to go through everything. Plus, I'm in the comment section for 1 hour at the launch of every YouTube video. So when you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can come and ask me your skincare questions. Even during today's video, type below any questions that you have on your pre and post workout routines and I will answer them for you. So as we know, exercise reduces your cortisol levels and improves circulation of blood to the skin. This helps with anti-aging benefits. However, sweat is essentially just salt water. And when you put salt water on the skin, water from your epidermis, the top layer of skin, evaporates. And this then leads to dry, dull looking skin. Sweat also combines with dead skin cells and oil in the pores, which clogs them up. And that's why we tend to get breakouts after working out. Now, the problem is for us, for skin of color, if you get a breakout, it's not just the breakout that we're worried about. It's the hyperpigmentation after that can take weeks, months, years, or even decades to clear. And actually, this is why it's so important that our skin of color community understands their skin, is educated on their skin, knows how to prevent and preempt acne breakouts. Now, when you're exercising, heat to the skin will worsen your rosacea, and plus eczema will worsen because of the sweat on the skin, drawing more water out of the epidermis. So let's talk about the science of sweating. Sweat is your body's way of cooling down. It's released from your eccrine glands and your apocrine glands, and it's mostly water, but also contains salts, oils, and other waste products. Sweat itself doesn't actually clog the pores. It's essentially just salty water. But if you mix it with oil, bacteria, and dead skin cells, it causes almost like a plug in the actual pore itself. If you think about the pore, which has now got a plug inside it, and you're overproducing sebum, it's going to lead to inflammation and acne breakouts. As you have inflammation in the pore, you might be wondering, why does that then lead to hyperpigmentation? What's happening is that inflammatory mediators outside of the pore become triggered. They then tell the melanocyte, the cell producing the pigment melanin, to produce more pigment. And now you have your octopus-like melanocyte with its big arms that goes into overdrive, thinking that we need to protect the skin, but it does it in patches. And so that's why on the surface of the skin, you see those dots exactly where the actual spot was. The other problem that my skin of color family has to deal with is any sort of hyperpigmentation after friction. This can be on the inner thighs, it can be under the armpit, anywhere that we find that we are sweating and then friction occurs can lead to hyperpigmentation. It actually often even happens on the knees. So if you're doing a lot of floor exercises on your knees, this can lead to hyperpigmentation of the knees. If you're on the floor with your hands like this can lead to hyperpigmentation of the knuckles. So actually we have to deal with quite a lot when it comes to even working out to protect our skin. So the first question is, when do you wash your face, before or after working out? The answer is both. You want to wash your face first of all before you work out, just in case you've got any clogging of the pores already taking place. You don't then want to set up your skin for a breakout. You want to unclog the skin. So if you are prone to breakouts, you should be washing with a 2% salicylic acid face wash. The Inky List does a very good salicylic acid face wash, and so does CeraVe. I actually created our Trio Blemish face wash specifically with salicylic acid, so it's to unclog the pores, but I also added in niacinamide. Niacinamide is really your best friend when it comes to skincare, because what it does is several things. It's a multi-beneficial ingredient. So it strengthens the skin barrier, which is important if you're sweating. It helps to control sebum production, which is important if you tend to get breakouts, especially that time of the month or you're a teenager. And also it helps to brighten the skin. So look for niacinamide really in your face wash with salicylic acid, and you want it to be in a fragrance-free formula. This is the other key thing here. We can't afford to irritate our skin. You want to avoid fragrance in all of your skincare because fragrance can lead to contact dermatitis in 3 to 4% of the population. For my skin of color family, that means hyperpigmentation. So avoid fragrance really in all your skincare. If you want to wear fragrance, put it on your clothes. I'm more than happy for you to do that, but please just leave your skin alone and keep it hydrated as much as possible. Also, when you're looking for your face wash, the key to look for is skin neutral pH. So you don't want a pH that's too acidic or too alkaline, because that's going to mess with the microbiome of the skin. And also is going to lead you more likely to have barrier damage that will happen if there's too much sweat on the skin, and then you're constantly also wiping it away while you're working out. So when you pick your face wash, make sure it's pH neutral, plus it's got lots of humectants in it. Remember I told you a humectant is a water magnet. It literally holds water in the top layer of skin. So if you think about your skin as the epidermis followed by the dermis, that's deeper down. Epidermis is where a lot of the injury to the skin happens, whether it's pollution hitting the skin, whether it's UV rays hitting the skin, whether it's sweat sitting on the skin. It really all takes place at that epidermal level. And so you want to give your epidermis a fighting chance when it comes to working out. And that means you want to load it with humectants, things like glycerin. So of course I put in high dose of glycerin in this, but when you look for your face wash, make sure it has high glycerin levels, because while you're working out, you want your skin to feel supple. You want it to feel hydrated. You don't want it to feel tight and dry. The other thing I want you to avoid are any harsh scrubs on the skin, especially before or after. So when you're washing your face, make sure there's no microbeads in there. There's nothing in there that's going to physically exfoliate the skin. We want to be strengthening the skin barrier, hydrating the skin, creating a healing environment to the skin. So according to a study in 2016, the skin barrier function for individuals with darker skin tones have a thinner stratum corneum. That's the top layer of skin. And we also have a lower ceramide level, which makes the skin more sensitive to any form of irritation. The next question is, can I wear makeup, Dr. V? This is a big one. For people with darker skin tones, wearing heavy makeup while working out can actually trap sweat and oils, leading to clogging of the pores and another breakout and more hyperpigmentation. But I also understand, especially if you feel self-conscious, that you have acne already, you want to cover it up before you go and work out. I fully understand that because I've been there myself. It just ends up that we get into a vicious cycle, and we're trying to do good things for our skin, but unfortunately a lot of the makeup that's out there is comedogenic, meaning the ingredients in the makeup themselves clog the pores. And this is something actually I've been looking into a lot myself. And so I know a lot of you know that we are, for example, coming out with our own concealers that are actually skincare, that actually help with fine lines. But actually when it comes to concealers to cover dark marks from acne, no one's really created one that is non-comedogenic and actually treats the acne. It just doesn't exist right now. There's something that you want me to work on. You know it takes me at least 6 months to a year to create anything. If it's something you want me to work on, can you write down the word make the concealer below, Dr. V? And I will work on it for you. I'll put it in the pipeline of things I need to make for you. But I feel the pain actually when it comes to having spots and going to the gym. One thing I would say at the moment, if you can get away with wearing a tinted mineral sunscreen and that covers the dark marks enough, I'd rather you did that, because that's actually good for the skin. That's actually going to help you, and it gives you a bit of coverage. It's just that a lot of these tinted sunscreens, they're not foundation, they're not concealers, they aren't going to, fully cover. They might just give you a little bit more confidence. So that's what I would recommend if you have to wear something on the skin. Next question. Dr. V, how do I prevent breakouts post-exercising? I get that I need to wash my face before and I need to wash my face after, but how do I stop those breakouts? So as we've already discussed, we know how the plug is formed. We know the mechanism of action, but what can we do to protect ourselves? You want to go in with 2% salicylic acid. And what that does at this particular percentage is, number one, is anti-inflammatory, right? So you're already inflamed. Number two, it's a fat soluble acid. It's a fat acid itself. It sinks into the pore and it really cleans out that pore for you. And what I would recommend is you do this every single time you sweat. So if you're running and you exercise every day, say you're at school and you're doing PE every day, or you like me and you love to exercise every day, whatever it is, what you want to go in is with your salicylic acid on the skin. There are some excellent salicylic acids on the market. I love Paula's Choice. So this is the salicylic acid that I made for my Skin of Color family. It's slightly different because what I put in here is obviously the 2% salicylic acid, but I also put in green tea extract, which helps with pigmentation, but it's also anti-inflammatory. And I loaded this with humectants because the problem with salicylic acid is, as much as I love that ingredient, it can dry your skin out. And then what ends up happening is you start off with oily acne prone skin, you're trying to treat the acne, you're using salicylic acid that doesn't have enough water magnets in it, and now you've got dry skin that's acne prone. And then that is like a double problem because there's two separate sets of ingredients you want to use. So what I would say is whenever you go and look for your salicylic acid, just make sure it's loaded with humectants and it's also fragrance free. That's key here. With all my products, we now have our own Dr. V shop on YouTube. I am beyond excited. I've been like wanting this shop for about 2 years, and suddenly yesterday we got our own shop. And so hopefully down below you are going to see all the products I talk about and actually use for my own skin because, as you know, I love exercising. Next question. Dr. V, do I really need to wear sunscreen if I'm working out? Aren't I just going to sweat it all off? The answer is yes, you absolutely do. Because don't forget, UV rays come through the window. So unless you are in a basement with no windows, which some of you are, there are a lot of gyms that have that vibe, I'm more than happy for you to do, then you don't need to wear a sunscreen. But if there are windows, then guess what? UV rays are going to fly through them. So yes, sunscreens are not water resistant no matter what they tell you. You still have to reapply every 2 hours. But I would never ever go without wearing an anti-inflammatory sunscreen. That's the other key here, is picking the right sunscreen. I always say to my Skin of Color family, go for mineral, because mineral is anti-inflammatory and it doesn't enter the bloodstream, which is why we tell pregnant women to wear mineral sunscreens. So this is the one I made for you. This is for your face and body. This is a tinted mineral sunscreen. And in it, I've put so many delicious ingredients. So so I put stem cells in here, which helps with anti-aging. There's blue shield protection in here. It's SPF 50 with PA4 pluses. That means it's maximum UVA protection. I of course put in niacinamide into this because niacinamide really is our best friend. We've got tyrosinase inhibitors in this as well, which helps with any sort of dark marks on the skin. I made a little one for you first, but so many of you loved it that I then went and created the large version too. So why do I get rashes after working out? It's actually a combination of two things. When you sweat, it then leads to friction of skin areas that rub together. This then leads to hyperpigmentation because any form of friction or irritation triggers our melanocytes. To prevent this, what you want to do is use anti-chafing balms or talcum powder. You want to wear also moisture wicking clothes. So for example, if you have inner thigh hyperpigmentation from chafing, you want to wear cycling shorts or leggings. If the same thing's happening under the arms, you also want to just make sure that you're wearing clothes that smooth over each other, that don't cause any friction. You want loose clothes rather than tight clothes because that's only going to make the sweating worse and make the situation worse. The other reason you might be getting a rash is that the skin barrier is compromised. And so, for example, if you've used lots of products and you've been following TikTok and you've been trying all the latest trends, or the other one right now I've just seen is a disaster, is a sodium bicarbonate on the skin to give this sort of polished glass face, but actually over a period of time, because it's the wrong pH of the skin, it just strips the skin, and that shiny look is a damaged acid mantle. Then you start sweating on top of that, the skin can't function properly. And so that's the other reason that rashes can take place after you've been sweating a lot. Next question, can I use a toner after working out? The answer is it depends. There are different types of toner and all toners were not created equal. If you want to go for a hydrating toner, I would say avoid any toners that contain denatured alcohol or witch hazel. Witch hazel is so common in toners because what it does is it removes water from the skin quickly and oils from the skin quickly. But it does a couple of other bad things, and that is it generates more free radicals in the skin, which damages your collagen. But the other thing that denatured alcohol does is that because you are getting that quick dry feeling, the skin will overreact and start to produce more oil. So it becomes counterintuitive. Instead, what I want you to look for are toners that are hydrating, that they hold water in the top layer of skin. In our hydrating toner, I loaded it with anti-inflammatories. That's key here because any form of sweating or heat to the skin is going to inflame the skin. So in here, we've got Centella asiatica, panthenol, and allantoin, 3 different types of anti-inflammatories. I've also put in niacinamide because that's important to protect our skin barrier throughout the day. And of course, glycerin. We want the water magnets in that top layer of skin, especially when you're sweating and is trying to remove the water from the epidermis. You want a water magnet to hold the water in the epidermis. I also put in Derm Stim. Derm Stim are our trademark stem cells. They are tyrosinase inhibitors and anti-aging. The other hydrating toner I really like on the market is done by CeraVe. So that's the other one I would recommend. Next question. Dr. V, should I exfoliate after the gym? So exfoliation really is key for keeping your skin clear. What happens with skin of color is the top layer of skin cells compact, and when that happens, the skin looks duller and duller, and cell turnover takes longer and longer as we age. This is why our skin looks duller as we age compared to, look at my 7-year-old son. It takes 7 days for skin cells to turn over. I'm a 40-year-old woman. It takes 40 days for my skin cells to turn over. So guess what? He's always going to look like he's glowing, and I'm always going to look duller compared to him. So how do I combat this? Exfoliation. Chemical exfoliation gives you even clear skin. You want to do this with either lactic acid or mandelic acid. Avoid glycolic acid for skin of color because it can burn the skin and lead to more pigmentation. Versus lactic acid, which is a humectant, actually holds water in the skin. And mandelic acid is an even bigger molecule, and you just cannot burn with mandelic acid, and that's why I love it. Having said all of this, it doesn't mean that you should exfoliate straight after exercising. You need to think of your skin a little bit like it's just been bombarded and it's inflamed at this point. Even if you've worn your hydrating toner, even if you have cooled yourself off with a fan, your skin barrier hasn't really come back to normal at this point. It takes a bit of time for the skin to reset. And so I would say if you're gonna exercise and you exercise every day, then leave your exfoliation for one night a week. One night a week. If, however, you exercise every other day, then I would exfoliate on a night that you're not exercising. The other thing to bear in mind is on the night you're exfoliating, do not use any vitamin A, retinol, retinaldehyde serums on that night. Save your vitamin A's for the other nights of the week. Next question. How do I deal with dry skin from frequent workouts? Frequent workouts, especially if you shower multiple times a day, can dry out the skin, especially if it's a hot shower. And I know how we love our hot showers, but they really are a mistake. What they do is they just draw more water out of the skin. And after you come out of the shower, you pat your skin dry. Within 5 minutes, your skin starts to feel tight. That's a problem. It's because we already have less ceramides in our skin. So what I highly recommend is that you purchase a moisturizer with a high ceramide content. Something like CeraVe, the tubs, for example, are excellent. If, however, you have aging skin, the skin feels a bit too soft and loose, or you have stretch marks, then I actually made our body brightening oil for you. In here is retinol, so it's your vitamin A, retinaldehyde, which works 10 times faster than retinol. I also put in vitamin C to mop up any damaging free radicals that will affect your collagen. I also put in vitamin E and ubiquinone. So that's coenzyme Q10. Those are all antioxidants. It's all in an airless pump. However, this is only if your actual problem is aging skin. If your problem is more dull skin and ashy skin because it feels dry, then just purchase the CeraVe moisturizer. So now let's go step by step. What is the routine? Pre-workout, you want to cleanse your face. You want to remove any saliva from the face, dead skin cells from the face, any fibers even from your pillow that have been stuck to your face. All these things can combine, make a disgusting concoction that basically clogs the pores. And then you combine that with your sebum production and voila, you have a spot. So we want to first of all clean our face in the morning, ideally with salicylic acid. Even if you don't have oily acne prone skin, this is something you want to do at least once a month if it's the week before your period. Use a gentle fragrance-free cleanser with a surfactant that feels hydrating to the skin. Studies have shown that cleansers with harsh surfactants can actually lead to more hyperpigmentation for skin of color, which is why it's important for you to also look at the surfactants in your face wash. The second step is to ensure you wear a moisturizer because you want to hydrate the skin. A hydrated skin is a stronger skin barrier. Don't forget that when you're going to start working out, you're going to have a salt water on the skin, and that's going to lead to environmental stress. So the best thing you can do is ensure that your skin is loaded with humectants and ceramides. As you know, this is our Cera-Pep Brightening Moisturiser. It's what I use. It's the product that I actually made for my own face. And it's only when I spoke about it on my social media to ask if you guys wanted me to make it for you that it was an overwhelming yes, and then it became basically our bestseller. So this is a very special product because it's not just a moisturizer. It's not just your ceramide peptide moisturizer. In this, I've put in your stem cells that are anti-aging. There's niacinamide in this as well, plus licorice root extract, which is brightening to the skin. I'm just going to show you what it looks like because it really is one of my favorite products. And it's the one that I use every day. It's the one that my kids use in the morning when they brush their teeth in the same sink as me. We're all basically doing our skincare at the same time. But this is the cream that my children love as well. Obviously, you don't have to use this, but when you pick your moisturizer, the other thing I want you to look for is to ensure it's non-comedogenic. And so you almost want a very hydrating moisturizer with ceramides, but you want to ensure that none of the ingredients are pore clogging, because that's just going to take you back 3 steps once you start working out. In the morning, after moisturizing, yes, you have to wear your sunscreen, SPF 50, whether you're working out outdoors or indoors with windows, because UVA rays lead to premature aging of the skin. It is the worst thing when it comes to damaging your collagen. Forget drinking collagen, forget wearing your vitamin A serums, forget all of this. If you're not wearing your mineral SPF 50 or your SPF 50, everything else is just a waste of your time and money. There's no point purchasing anything else. So really, if you had to pick one product out of everything to buy for your face, please just buy your SPF 50. Now, when you're in the actual gym itself, there's a couple of tips I want to give you, especially when you're sweating. The thing you really want to do is just get your hands and do this. But you don't understand how disgusting that is, because what's happened is you basically say you're using your cross trainer or you're using your weights. Most people are not washing their hands, and you do not know how much bacteria is on all of these machines in the gym. Please don't go directly from working out to touching your face, because you don't actually know what you're transferring to your skin. So that's mistake number 1. Number 2, if you're going to take a towel into the gym to wipe your face, I would highly recommend you take in your own towel, make sure it's white, so that you know when it's dirty, and you wash your towels regularly. Now, post-workout, this is when you want to really go in properly with your skincare routine. You want to give your face a full cleanse. This means that when you're washing your face, pump the face wash into your hands, lather it up with the water, then close the tap. Because the single reason why people shorten and hasten their face wash and don't fully clean their face is because they're worried about wasting water, which I fully understand. Close the tap, properly wash your face, and then rinse your face after. You're gonna feel so much better, so much more relaxed. There's less anxiety about wasting water, and as your face is cleaner. Then moving on to your toner. This is optional, but what a toner can do is it can balance your skin's pH quicker. And so this also helps to remove any leftover impurities on the skin and helps to give you a stronger skin barrier. If you have oily acne-prone skin, a salicylic acid toner can be particularly helpful. Ideally, you want to look for toners with niacinamide to reduce redness and balance oil and prevent any hyperpigmentation. At this point, I really wouldn't recommend any serums on the skin with vitamin A in them or ascorbic acid in them. Because if you imagine the pH of your skin right now is not functioning optimally. You've just put an injury to the skin, if you like, when you put salt water on the skin. Your skin needs time to recalibrate. And so that morning, if it's during the day, for example, don't apply your L-ascorbic acid, if your vitamin C, apply it at nighttime. The next step is essential, and that is to rehydrate your skin. Your skin is never going to feel as dry as it does after you've exercised or after you've been swimming in the sea for the same reason. And so when you pick your moisturizer, make sure it's a nice fatty moisturizer with ceramides, ideally with peptides, because that also creates a healing environment for the skin. That's non-comedogenic, so you're not getting any sort of breakouts. I love niacinamide, or any brightening ingredients as well is always going to be beneficial for my skin of color family. If, however, you are prone to acne breakouts, then I would, at this point, I'm happy for you to wear your benzoyl peroxide spot treatment. So just put it just on the spots before you then put your moisturizer on everywhere else. Don't forget, after you work out, your skin is actually more sensitive to the sun. So please don't forget your mineral SPF 50. This is also anti-inflammatory. Now you know what to do with your gym skincare routine. Watch my worst skincare mistakes.